Donald Trump has celebrated a meeting overnight between his US envoy Steve Witkoff and the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He's also discussed a potential in-person meeting next week involving Trump and Putin, then Trump and Zelensky, which would come after his deadline for a ceasefire, now just days away. This was Trump speaking on this a moment ago.
We had some very good talks with President Putin today, and there's a very good chance that we could be ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
Yeah, Vladimir Putin will have a lot to say about that, but let's bring in our Sky News US analyst, Michael Ware. Michael, good to see you this morning. So, yeah, the White House, Trump talking up the talks. The Kremlin even talked up the talks to an extent. Did anything of note really come out of it, though?
No, not really anything of actual substance, except it does appear, according to the White House, that Moscow has expressed interest in President Vladimir Putin meeting personally with President Trump next week. Let's see if that evolves. Look, the problem here is we can't get too excited too soon, because Vladimir Putin genuinely believes he can still grind out a military victory on the ground, as his summer offensive in Ukraine is bound to spill over and continue into the spring. And Vladimir Putin is prioritising strategic gains on the battlefield over President Trump's promises to help inject life back into the Russian economy. Look, the Kremlin has been saying that the US and Russia's negotiating positions are still very, very far apart. And at a bare minimum, in Putin's mind, is that he is able to retain 4 Ukrainian provinces, some of which he already has occupied, 2 he hasn't fully occupied, and that Ukraine agreed to full neutrality and does not join NATO. Look, Putin really does believe in Mother Russia, the re-establishment of the Russian Empire, and maintaining a geographic buffer between Russia and their perceived opponents or threats from Europe and the United States. So, he's deflected any pressure from the sanctions by getting ammo from North Korea and dual-use technology from China. So it's still a very difficult road to hoe.
Does anyone seriously believe the ceasefire is going to happen this week, Michael?
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
In fact, while President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, was in Moscow, having met President Putin, Russia then sent a military strike into Ukraine that killed 2 civilians, literally while Witkoff was still there. This year alone, the Russians have killed, according to the UN, 6,700 innocent Ukrainian civilians. Now, what Putin has done is offer a possible fig leaf, and that he will hold back drone and missile strikes on Ukrainian cities and civilian targets. Now, whether energy infrastructure is included in that is yet to be seen. But in that, he's not offering much. And that would also potentially handcuff the Ukrainians in their use of drone attacks inside Russia. Just last weekend, we saw the Ukrainians shut down entirely one Russian oil facility and cripple another one so badly it's now functioning at 50% capacity. The Ukrainians need to maintain that offensive capability.
Yeah. All right. And meanwhile, India's getting picked on over all of this when it comes to trade, and we're going to jump onto this on the other side of this break, but we've got to leave it there, Michael. Good to see you.